This is my house.
Last week, I had a look at a recent Sydney Sweeney romantic comedy, Anyone But You, and I didn't like it. I don't tend to like romantic comedies, or many romances really, but I was trying to answer the question of can Sydney Sweeney act, and I concluded that she can. I've seen far worse.
You're lying. I never hit you. You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
But I have also seen better. But in doing that, I tried to remember the last romance I liked, and my mind went to the movie To Catch a Thief. To Catch a Thief is a movie from 1955. 69 years ago, nice. Directed by Alfred Hitchcock and starring Cary Grant and Grace Kelly. And going back and watching it, the contrast between that movie and Anyone But You was frankly shocking. So what did To Catch a Thief do that Anyone But You didn't? One thing that shocked me was the comparative quality of the dialogue in the two films. First up, we have Anyone But You. The context of this scene is that the two leads had a falling out after one very nice date together when she ghosted him after a misunderstanding. They're insulting each other and verbally sparring, and they've just found themselves on the same plane, and he, unlike her, is in first class.
Hey. Headed to the wedding?
Of my sister? Yes, I am.
So where's your fiance? Wait, is this him? Hey, I'm Ben. I was her hall pass on your break. What? I forgot. Claude told me you dumped him. Just sneak out on your wedding day? Do you want anything from the front of the boat? Hot cookie, eye mask, pajamas, last 10 years of your life?
No, thank you. I'm all good on creatine and small dick insecurity.
And if you're wondering what I think is wrong with that scene, the answer is yes. That is seriously the best they could do with the quips in this film. They're really not good, and I'm not really getting a smouldering attraction from any of this either. The line is bad, the delivery's frankly not good either. There's an explicit scene in this movie, but for me, that's kind of not what the film needed. She didn't need to F him on camera, she needed to F him with her eyes. That's what the film is missing. What the makers did is mistake romance for a blue movie. So let's see what To Catch a Thief has to offer. The context is more complicated in this scene. In it, the female lead, Grace Kelly, is playing with the male lead, Cary Grant. There have been a series of jewel thefts by a cat burglar in the area, and she thinks it's him. She thinks he's trying to steal from her and her mother, and she thinks he's pretending to be someone else. She also thinks she's caught him. She's invited him for a day out and just sped away from the police that were following them by driving like a cross between a race car driver and a maniac.
Slow down.
And let them catch us?
Let who catch us?
The police in the black car, the ones who are following you.
I don't know what you're talking about. Police following me?
Yes, police following you. John Roby, the cat.
And oh my, was Grace Kelly good. They both were. Sydney Sweeney so far in her career is no Grace Kelly, but maybe with time. The dialogue was so sharp in To Catch a Thief, and the story, unlike Anyone But You, is kind of faultless.
Have you ever seen any place in the world more beautiful? Just look at the colors of the sea down there in the sky and those little pink and green buildings on the hill. Think of all those roofs you could climb over. I hope you tried to bluff me, Mr. Roby, and then I can have the fun of telling you how clever I was. Oh, now don't be disappointing and sound like Mr. Burns.
I can only be myself, Miss Stevens.
Then be yourself, John.
Don't talk like that.
You're leaving fingerprints on my arm.
I am not John Roby the cat.
Why are the police following you? You have a very strong grip, the kind a burglar needs.
That's why you came up here, isn't it?
We'll have cocktails at 8 and dinner at 8:30, all in my suite. We'll talk about it there. 8 o'clock, and be on time.
Haven't got a decent watch.
Steal one.
Anyone But You, in contrast, featured a wedding, and the two leads had both been invited despite the people who were getting married knowing that they loathed each other with a passion. And why? Why would they do that? The whole cast are Americans for the most part. They arrange a wedding in Australia, arrange to have everyone stay in a beach house together, and then invite two people that they know hate each other. They also invite the guy's ex-girlfriend, who broke his heart, as well as the woman's ex-fiancé. And what possibly would be their motivation for that? Their guests almost burned down the beach house with them all in it. They managed to smash the cake and fall into Sydney Harbour. They nearly ruin the entire wedding. It's done for comedy in the context of the film, but in the context of the story and for these characters, why would the characters do this? In contrast, in To Catch a Thief, it's kind of perfect. By the end, it all adds up, all of the character motivations in the story. I'd maybe only change one small thing at the end. To Catch a Thief is a romantic thriller directed by Alfred Hitchcock. The film stars Cary Grant as a retired cat burglar who's reformed, but after a string of high-profile jewel thefts, using his exact methods, is suspected by the police and has to set out to clear his name and catch the real thief. And the whole thing's kind of magical. Along the way, he gets close to a rich heiress played by Grace Kelly and her mother because they have expensive jewels and he wants to be around them, so when the thief makes their move, he'll be there to catch them. And Grace Kelly wants him around because in multiple ways, she's trying to catch Cary Grant. Even the name of the film is a clever double entendre. If you haven't watched To Catch a Thief before, I'd go and do that before I get into spoilers, which I'm going to do now. You can always come back after you've watched the film if you want to know why I like it so much. We start off in the south of France and multiple people are waking up to find that their jewels have been stolen by a cat burglar during the night. We then meet our male lead, John Roby, also known as the Cat, played by Cary Grant. Roby has a checkered past. He was a cat burglar, as opposed to a hamburglar. In Infinite Universes, it occurs to me that there must be at least one where this movie has the hamburglar playing the Cary Grant part, and instead of Grace Kelly, let's say the Grimace. Never mind that right now. He broke into people's houses at night by climbing over roofs and through windows, and it landed him in jail. He then broke out of jail during World War II, worked with the French resistance, and was granted a pardon, as long as he stopped being a thief. The police are going to arrest Roby because the methods used in the crimes are an exact match for how he used to do them, but he manages to give them the slip using trickery. The film makes heavy use of symbolism. Roby has a pet black cat that's used as a symbolic stand-in for him in the film, so when the cat gets up and starts to prowl and hunt, it's at a point of the film where that's what Roby is doing. Roby goes to see some old friends from the French resistance for help. They now run a restaurant, and most of them are very angry with him because they also think he did it, and it threatens their pardons by association. Roby learns of a man who's been seen around town asking questions about the robberies and the people who have jewels, and then the police turn up again at the restaurant. Roby escapes on a speedboat with the help of a young woman, the daughter of one of the resistance members. He taught her English, and despite an age gap, she has an enormous thing for him. She's afraid he'll get arrested and asks him to leave France with her and go to South America. Roby arranges to meet the man asking questions and finds that he's an insurance agent. His firm has lost a lot because of the thefts, and he agrees to help Roby catch the real thief by giving him a list of who in the area has jewels most worth stealing. So Roby pretends to be an American businessman called Mr. Burns.
Excellent.
In order to meet a rich lady and her daughter played by Grace Kelly, who have the most tempting jewels. Grace is looking for a husband, and this man intrigues her. They spend time together and run into the young French girl. Her and Grace have an argument because the French girl loves Roby and doesn't appreciate seeing Grace with him. The whole film oozes style and class. Grace Kelly was just so effortlessly chic. At first, she tries to test Roby. She thinks he's there to steal from her and her mother. She tries to tempt him into revealing himself, inviting him over for dinner to watch the fireworks while wearing expensive-looking jewels. The fireworks are again symbolic of the fireworks of their relationship flaring up. The jewels she's tempting him with are not even real, and he knows it, but it does give her one of the best lines of the entire film.
You know as well as I do, this necklace is imitation.
Well, I'm not.
And what did the new film Anyone But You have again? Well, it had a lukewarm explicit scene and an accidental finger up the bum. You know, along the way, I can't help but feel we've lost something. Quite a few things, really. The next morning, Grace is infuriated when she learns that her mother has been robbed during the night, and she thinks Roby did it. She's fallen for him and thinks he robbed her. She calls the police and he escapes yet again. Roby then goes into hiding, and when he tries to catch the real thief, two men try to end his life and one ends up falling off of a cliff. And the man that fell off the cliff was one of the resistance members from the restaurant, the father of the young French woman. The French police act as if the man that fell to his doom was the cat, but Roby knows it wasn't him. The man had a wooden leg, and Roby knows that would make the burglars impossible for him, because there's no way he could navigate the roofs while missing a leg. Grace, seeing the papers, realises that she was wrong about Roby and goes to apologise, and meanwhile, he's come up with a very dangerous plan. There's going to be a large party, one that he suspects the thief will hit. Grace has an invitation to that party. The problem is, the police will be there, and if Roby gets caught on the roof, he'll be back in prison again. He goes to the party in disguise and tricks everyone yet again by switching partway through the night with the insurance man who's wearing the same outfit. The insurance man then dances with Grace all night while Roby waits on the roof for the thief. The party is being catered by the restaurant run by the ex-resistance men, but as it goes dark, all of them appear to leave. And that's when Roby hears the sound of someone moving on the roof, having just climbed out of a window with a handful of jewels. The police see Roby open fire, but he manages to catch the real thief when they try to escape and slip off of a roof. And it's the young French woman who was the burglar. She was stealing on behalf of the restaurant owner, Roby's old friend, and Roby suspected as much because who else would know his methods well enough to copy them? There's one thing that I would change about the film though. It would have maybe been nice to see justice come to the real criminals. The film just kind of forgets about them. A scene of them getting arrested would have been good for me, but Roby confronting his old friend who betrayed him, something like that. Instead, it just cuts to Roby back at his villa, where Grace has come to say goodbye. She wants him to admit that he needed her help and to say thank you, but really, she just wants another excuse to see him again.
Who brought you up here?
The police. And we would have caught you, too. If my dress hadn't gotten caught all over the steering wheel and gear shift.
But it was only 20 minutes ago I said goodbye.
As quickly as you could. Goodbye.
After admitting that he needed her help, that he couldn't have done it alone, only with her help did he manage to catch his thief. She pouts and offers her hand to say goodbye, and he pulls her in for a kiss. And after that, Grace just gets another fantastic line.
So this is where you live. Oh, Mother will love it up here.
And Cary Grant makes an expression as she smiles that's part shock, part panic, and he realises that he's just been got. He realises that she just caught her thief as well.
Excellent.
You're tearing me apart, Lisa!
Never rub another man's rhubarb.